The three-day forum is expected to discuss free trade agreements, ease of doing business and optimizing investment in the green economy. We cross now live to my colleague, SABC senior news reporter Reginald Witbooi. Reginald, tell us a little bit more about what the theme of this year's event is and what are the main objectives?
A very good morning to you, it's a piece, and also to our viewers. Well, it's the 2-year of the Tourism Investment Forum Africa, and today we are discussing trade, mobility and also connectivity when it comes to the tourism sector. Now, we know that transportation plays an integral part of the tourism industry in South Africa, and when we look at the figures for the first quarter of 2023, we saw international arrivals stood at 2.1 million visitors, and that is an increase of 102% compared to the same period of 2022. But there are challenges, and I had the opportunity to speak to one of the speakers earlier on, and he was saying that although there's improvement, road infrastructure remains a challenge on the African continent to attract visitors to the continent, but also to lure investors to invest their money. Now, we know that, or studies shows that visitors actually spend 30 to 40% of their holiday budget on transportation. So just to tell us more about the linkage between transportation and how it plays a role to the economic coffers of the tourism sector, I am now joined by the Deputy Transport Minister, Mr. Mr. Lisa Mangu. I almost got that wrong. A very good morning to you, sir. And also, welcome to the Northern Cape, Upington specifically. It's day 2 of this this forum. Transportation, it plays a huge role, but we all want to travel, but it's very expensive. What are you doing as government to ensure that there's economic growth, but people are finding it very expensive to invest their money on South African soil?
Thank you very much, and good morning to you and to your viewers. It's good to be in Northern Cape, Kaimos, next to Kakamas, and next to the border. Transport is an enabler of economic growth. I always say transport generally is the backbone of any economy to grow. But as government, our role is policy, regulation, monitoring, and even enforcing that policy. So what is it that we are doing? We want to level the playing field. How do we level the playing field? By developing policies and legislation that makes it easy to enter into South Africa, to access permits, to be able to come here. And we are developing a legislation called the Transport Economic Regulation Bill. What will it do? It will make sure that the playing field is leveled. When the playing field is leveled, we then promote more competition. When there is more competition, the market forces will determine that we need to bring down the prices. So one of the main reasons is the limited number of airlines, especially on international trade. We are working very hard to make sure that we open up that regime through our International Aviation Licensing Council so that we can process applications for international airlines to come into our country easier. So the prices will drop once there is more competition, which is what we are pushing for by regulation.
But also infrastructure. We need to get tourists to visit South Africa, the Northern Cape, the African continent. But if we are sitting with dilapidated road infrastructure, it's not going to assist anyone.
Of course, we agree. And we have said, and I said earlier on, the lack of investment in infrastructure, generally in maintenance, has given us a big setback. What has caused that lack of infrastructure investment, amongst other things, is the things that have hit us in the last 3 years, where the economy was literally shut down. Remember, for government to generate money. The economy must boom, the businesses must grow, we can get more tax and get more appropriation. So we are certainly, I mentioned inside there that we have what we call the Presidential Infrastructure Coordinating Commission. Its purpose is to show and demonstrate that government will take seriously the issue of infrastructure. So it is being attended to at the level of the president to make sure that we do it. Now, we are also rolling out a program that we call Valazonga to close potholes. It is not the solution. That's a symptom of the problem. But some of the investment we are doing in this year is to make sure that we rehabilitate our roads and we make sure that it is easy. But having said that, our national roads are of a high standard and they are amongst the best in the world. But people want to turn left, short left into the small dorpies, and that is what we are attending to make sure that it is safe to drive on our roads.
There's also the issue, Deputy Minister, of permits for tour operators, not only in your big cities, but also small towns like you are here in Kakamas, Kaimus, Upington areas. What are you doing on that?
We are pushing through legislation. It has gone through the National Assembly. It's at the National Council of Provinces, what we call the National Land Transport Act or Transition Bill, Act Bill, because we want to amend it. The main thing there has been the recognition of, for instance, receipts when the tour operators have paid to renew their permits. The law enforcers have not been allowing them to use them. So the amendment we are bringing, we are saying don't penalize the tourist or the tour operator. The fact that they have done what is due on their side, we must be lenient enough to make sure, because the fact that you go and pay and the system can't issue a permit immediately is not your problem. You have met all the minimum standards we require. So therefore we are amending legislation. We are speaking to colleagues in the provinces to say as long as a tour operator can demonstrate that he or she has paid their permit fee, we should allow them to do that. So we are monitoring that, and we want to encourage tour operators not to keep quiet when they are harassed.
Thank you so much, Deputy Minister. Well, that was the Deputy Transport Minister, Lisa Mangu, just telling us more about the integral role that transportation plays to boost the economic coffers of the tourism sectors. But panel discussions are currently happening here in Upington at this 3-day event of the Tourism Investment Conference. Hopefully agreements being signed, but the Deputy Minister also saying that they are making good progress to ensure that investors, tourists come here and invest their money and get their worth, but also to increase international travel, because people are also making use of public transport, and it's believed that public transport in itself is not generally promoted. So there's also that issue. But we are going to keep you abreast of what's happening here at this 3-day event here in Upington. Tsepiso.